having a good time today. The first match was a decent match. I mean, I did better than I expected to do, but it wasn't enough to take the points home. The second match, I got kicked out. Go to daily race, and freaking Gran Turismo crashes. I have the sneaking suspicion that my PlayStation is about to give me major problems. The hard port on it, the Ethernet port on it, quit working about 6 months ago, and every once in a while since then, I get this problem where the Bluetooth quits working, and all my controllers that are Bluetooth decide to go off. And my wire is old enough and it's got enough slack in it that in the fitting that if I try to keep it plugged in all the time, what happens is as you're playing, because of the very poor design that they did on the PlayStation with the where the port sits at, it'll sit there and jiggle, and you'll get these constant messages popping up. Controller's been disconnected. Controller's been disconnected. So I have to run it in Bluetooth and just hope that. There's been a couple of times I've been playing that it's decided it's going to die right in the middle of the stream, and I have to reboot the whole, because the Bluetooth is not connected and it doesn't see the device connected hardwire, even though I do have a connected hardwire to keep the charge on the port. It doesn't see it, and therefore I had to press and hold the power button to make it shut down, because there's no. I suppose I could plug my steering wheel back into it and try to get control of it through there, but it doesn't seem to. Even when I plug it into another port, it doesn't seem to pick it up. It's like the controller's mechanism, the chip that controls the controllers isn't recognizing new devices. So then you have to hard reset, which of course shuts everything down. So some of the streaming issues could be solved if I get off of the PlayStation streaming. It's what's in the budget right now. If I could afford a something like USB or HDMI streaming pack, something like Elgato or something like that, I would do that, because that eliminates the PlayStation having control of the stream. And then I don't run into this situation where when I shut the game down, the stream shuts down. I can shut the game down, go to a different game, and still have the stream running. But that's just what you have to deal with. Let's see where we're at. That's going to give me a hit on my DR and SR, because it's going to count as a quit. Let me take a look at that. It hasn't hit yet. Of course, I lost points in the first race, even though I finished 4 positions ahead of where I was supposed to. At 11th, I still lost about 200 points. And here we are waiting for this one, which is 30 minutes away. There's not going to be time for another race C, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not getting into B or A. Those are just waiting to. I mean, I could go into A and get a quick one in, and just to make sure that my SR is up high enough, but I don't think the 4 or 5 points I'm going to lose for having a disconnect is going to, on my SR, is going to affect things that much. back before they had the penalty system turned back on. Yeah, because everybody had 99 SR, so if you had less than 99 SR, there was a good chance you were going into the bad boys room. Because there was more than enough people to fill the course with 99 SR. Usually, that's the way it works. Is if you do not have the 99 SR, when it starts filling the lobby, if it can't fill the lobby with enough people that are in the DR range that you're in, with a 99 SR, then it'll start picking people 98, 97, 96, 95, down to about 90, and then you're into a new DR, new SR, which is A instead of B, or A instead of S, and then there's a good bet you're probably going to be in dirty boardroom then, unless it's late in the night when there ain't hardly anybody on. Got a 30-minute wait. Damn it. And I got, that should be coming out here shortly. That's what I was waiting on. That race should be finishing up here anytime, and then that'll let me know. Oh yeah, I lost almost 1,000 DR for that. I didn't lose any SR though. DR is not a problem. When it comes down to it, SR is not a problem. And I was up at 36,000 because I had been racing race C and had pulled myself up out of 33,000. It's one of those races, Red Bull Ring Group 2, that I'm doing good as far as what my race potential is. So I'm gaining points because there are other people that aren't maintaining their driving standard at the rate that they're at, because they boosted their SR or their DR higher than what it should be on a track that they were really good at with a combination they were really good with. Now they're in Group 2 at Red Bull Ring, and they're either not good with the Group 2 cars or they're not good at Red Bull Ring. One or the other, or both. Usually what I find is if I try it on the first day and that seems to be the case, I stay away from that race. I was up over 40,000 and ended up almost reset because I went into a track that I wasn't good at with a combination that I wasn't all that great with, and had some people around me that were just being stupid, and the penalty system was way jacked up then. Guy comes around me, everybody knows him, he's a dirty driver, even though he tries to say he's a racing trainer, and he come around me, hit the guy in front of me, spun himself out, and when they both spun, I collected both of them and got double penalty. And it was when the penalty system was at its worst, and I almost got reset because of that. And it was at Monza in Super Formula. So that's not what I wanted to see. Let me go back out of here. I'd be well, but my points are set to 0 again. It's saying I got 104 points. We'll see if it keeps that. That's funny. That DSO is he was a Dodge driver last season or during the Expo or something like that, and I was keeping up with him, but he's really fast. But I outscored him because he's pushed himself up into lobbies that he can't compete with anymore. And Lisa Salters was way back when I first started, the very first manufacturer race I ran. She was in that race, and I was running the McLaren F1, and I came in first place, and she added me then. I think it's a she. It's a he. It's probably a he. Lisa Salters is the name is a ESPN correspondent. She used to do sports broadcasting. I don't know if she does anymore. At least that's what I heard. And I have no idea if this is if this is that person or if this is just somebody, trying to be funny. I would have the sneaking suspicion that this is somebody trying to be funny, because if a celebrity came in and said, "Hey, somebody's got my name. Why do I have to put a 420 at the end of it?" and went to Sony about it, they'd probably tell that whoever it was, "Hey, you're using a copyrighted name. You need to give it up." Just got one more mission left. Get that real quick. Alrighty. After this one, what do we got? Schedule. So the next one is going to be Red Bull Ring Group 3. The frickin' Viper is hot at Group 3 Red Bull Ring. It has enough rotation to make it through the really squiggly sections, and it has enough speed to really burn it up down the straights. So we'll see how that goes. And then if we got Blue Moon Group 3 Infield A, I think I should be okay there with the use of Viper. Dragon Trails Group 4. I'm usually okay at Group 4. And the Dragon Trails Gardens, that's reverse. The Viper should be okay there. There's going to be some sections where the handling sections, there are other cars that are much better. The speed sections, there are other cars that are not, but the handling cars that are much better. So it's a toss-up. We sit right in the middle there. The good thing is the speed cars have been pulled back a little bit, so Dodge is able to almost be classified as a speed car again. Brands Hatch Group 3. I really don't like Brands Hatch, but I run it anyway. I'm not so certain about the Group 3 Viper around there, though. It's a handling track. And the Group 3 Viper is an okay handler, not a great handler. Turn 1 is a nightmare there. That the way they grade the road to the outside as you're coming over top of a hill, and the road grades to the outside, so it wants to push you out, and your car's trying to slide out already. So that's just stupid in my opinion. You wouldn't see a track like that in America. They would grade the road to where it'd be turning down into the corner, so you keep traction on the road. Uh, the way that turn one's set up, it's asking for you to kill yourself, which is why they got this huge runoff area out on the left hand side of it. Monza Group 4. That depends on if it's a standing start or not, and even then, that's not a rolling start's not going to make it much better. It's just going to be less people crowded in the corner. Tsukuba, we're not doing that. GP Group 3, that one should be okay. Fuji Group 4, Yeah, maybe not. I mean, I'll do it, but because I like Fuji. But and the Group 4 is not that bad, but the Viper's just not that great around there. The Group 4 one is. Seaside Reverse Group 3. That's gonna be fun. This one I'm not certain. I mean, I'm okay at the track. There are some sections that I'm really rusty and really um, have some things to learn, but that that car is the clincher. Uh, I've never really been good with the Red Bull cars. They perform sort of like go-karts. Their tires have little traction, especially in the rear. The rear likes to slide around a lot. Um, Even though it's got a downforce chassis on it, it doesn't have any downforce to push the rear tires down. Uh, and it acts, like I said, like a go-kart, like it's got really small tires, like 12-inch tires. Uh, this is going to be it's not just the M3, I guarantee. Uh, and we're not doing that. I don't do Nordschleife. That's not a racetrack. That's a goat trail. Uh, the Roadster around, that one should be fun. Group 2, we're doing that one right now in race C. So that should be good there. Alsace, I like Alsace. A lot of people don't, but I like Alsace. Um, and part of the reason a lot of people don't like it is because it's really wide track. But in my opinion, in the slower lobbies, that's a good thing because it gives you opportunity to pass. There's the guy that likes to get up in front and try to block. He has to block a whole freaking 4 lanes. Yeah, go ahead. I'll come around you anyway. Or I'll pick you to the outside and swoop down on the inside on you. And then WeatherTech Group 3, we're going to be doing the Viper there. It's just, that's what you have to do there. I mean, there are other cars that are probably better than the Viper there, but I like the Viper there. So still got 18 minutes before this opens up. I'm wondering if that race went through or if the lobby got completely kicked. Because it looked to me like there was only 1 or 2 Brazilians in there, so the majority of the lobby was from America or Canada. And see, that's what I don't understand. You can take any 2 other regions and put them together, and they still don't equal the market base of the North American market for Gran Turismo. And yet we're forced to run on Brazilian servers, little dog and pony uh, powered pieces of junk. I was watching a thing the other day. It was probably about 2 weeks ago now. I was talking about how come there's no good GTE Formula drivers that from America, and it got me to thinking about that. And people in American sports, I'm not going to include NASCAR in this because the Bush family wrecked NASCAR. People in American sports expect people to be sportsmanlike. And when you have a series that has a set of rules that the judges will bend the rules for certain people. That's not sportsmanlike. And those certain people will bend the rules themselves, and the judges will allow it. Uh, I mean, Lewis Hamilton's a prime example. About good 25 to 30% of what he does is actually dirty. I've watched him run people wide. I've watched him pinch people down. Uh, that's not racing. That's being dirty. And the rules specifically state in the FIA rules that if you make a maneuver, it forces another car to make a maneuver to evade you. That is a penalty. Yet they're not enforcing that. And it's not just Hamilton. There's a whole slew of them. I mean, usually what it comes down to is, was there any damage to the vehicles? If not, then we'll allow it. No, you need to cut it off and nip it in the butt. Put a penalty on them, and they'll quit doing that crap. And then you won't have to worry about whether there's going to be damage to the cars, because they won't be hitting each other. Not unless there's some sort of mechanical failure or a driver error. But it won't be like, I mean, they had a guy that was an F1 driver that lost his seat during the 2020 COVID E-Series that they were trying to get started, because he thought he'd do like they do in NASCAR and get my wheel up in his door. There's no door on an F1. You climb into it. But he put his and the team, the judges admonished him, and the team said you're fired. So, you know, but that's the way it needs to be. And you start letting these guys know, we don't care how fast you are. If you can't drive clean, then you're not a good driver, and we're going to penalize you for it. And they'll quit doing that crap. That's part of the thing. I hated and dreaded the penalty system when it was hard, but I liked it because more often than not, people would stay off you. When they had it set up to where, uh, I take that back. There was a point where we went through where somebody could hit you and you get the penalty. That's not right, obviously, and it needed some fine tuning to get it back to the person that does the hitting. And that's the biggest part of the problem with this thing, is it's an automated system, and they're not taking into account several key things that they have the ability to do. Uh, they're using, my understanding is every driver that's driving around the track on a open lobby system, the the FIA dailies and the FIA manufacturers and nations, there is a ghost that is following you, and that ghost determines stuff like whether you went off track, whether you or, not went off track, whether you cut the course. Because if you do something that ghost doesn't think you, or if you're going faster than that ghost thinks you should be going through the corner, albeit the fact that you came out of that corner with you're 0.12 seconds behind a guy, and you're getting some serious pull off of him. Well, you cut the corner because you were coming out of the corner too fast. You had to have been. It's not the fact that you were getting a draft from our broken draft system. You cut the corner, so you get a penalty. Uh, that's not right. But the two guys come into a corner. One of them's on the inside, one of them's on the outside. The one on the inside makes his turn, but he pushes the one on the outside out as the turn exits and pinches him off. The one on the inside should get the penalty. Just because he's on the inside doesn't mean that he. And for a while that was being abused, because what they were actually had the penalties set up so that if you were on the inside, the guy on the outside was at fault always. Doesn't matter that the guy on the inside dove down into the grass to get there. You get the penalty because you were on the outside of him. Uh, and not to mention the fact that because he dove down in the grass and lost his car lost all traction, it pushed you out wide and knocked you off the course already. So now you get an off-course penalty and a track limit penalty and a Making contact with another car penalty. Uh, that's a load in my case, in my opinion. There are better ways to do that. They it, they've got uh, markers. You see them in game. I play with the markers on. Tag the cars whenever they hit those markers. Was the car going faster than it should have been going when it hits that marker? Yes. Did that car make contact with another car in the corner? Yes. That car gets a penalty. Was the I mean, it can even be in a range because those markers are the very beginning of the braking zone, unless you're in a car that has really crappy brakes like the F1. In the F1, if you brake at those markers, you will be deep every time. You have to brake before the markers. Uh, but you can give them a range, and all you have to do is record it. All they have to do is record the information at those markers to determine what's going on in the corners. What was his angle to the angle of the track? Was he going straight? Was he already turning in? If the guy on the inside is coming in hot and attempting to use the guy that he's trying to pass as a brake, he's going to be going straight down the track because he's going to want to make contact with that guy. He's not going to be attempting to turn in. Uh, if he outbreaks himself, yeah, you made a mistake, but there are penalties for mistakes. That's the way it works. You make a mistake, you get a penalty. In real life, some of these things, some of these mistakes these guys make, they make those mistakes and they either kill somebody, or they kill themselves, or they kill both of them. You're not going 170 miles an hour and hitting somebody and not getting something out of it. uh, I don't. I'm not certain about the tire models in this game either. Supposedly Michelin's been working with them, but they've been working with them for over a year now, and things have gotten a little bit better as far as the hards and the mediums. They're just a little bit more groupier than they used to be, but you notice you never see them running super soft tires. You go into a private lobby and turn on super soft tires and notice that you're actually getting less grip than like a medium set. Uh, they've just abandoned those tires for some reason. Uh, and that's a whole nother tire set that they could throw into the rotation. Um, the range between the mediums, hards, or hards, mediums, and softs is still not coming down all that great. I think they whittled like a tenth off of it. And that's at the upper end. At the lower end is not changing anything at all. Uh, the and the big change that they made with the mid-engine rear drive cars is still, I started when I first started driving. That's what I was driving in this game. I was driving a Porsche and I was driving a McLaren, and I switched over to Viper. I'm not lying because it was OP for exhibition season, and I did really well. And I've stayed with the Viper because my very first car was a Dodge, and so Dodge is always there for me. Um, but after driving the Viper for so long and getting used to the front rear and seeing how much I can put it through without having to worry about the rear coming out and not having to worry about the fact that just because I spun out, I'm going to be facing the track the wrong way because the engine's heavy, it's in the back. That's going to be the last part of quit sliding. Uh, More often than not in the Viper, I end up facing the right way when the car spins out. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. I've been spun out facing the right ways, getting my grip back on the track, and somebody comes around the corner and bam. And now I got a penalty for brake checking, even though I wasn't even on the brakes. And I've just ruined somebody else's race because they're damaged and I'm damaged, and you know, it's one of those can't win situations there. And that's happened a couple of times where I tapped somebody and I didn't mean to, and I watched them lose control because I tapped them, and I was like, yeah, that's not right, so I'll back out. And apparently nobody else up front thinks I should have backed out, so that because I got several of them hit me, even though I've moved out of the lane, and they followed me over and thinking they were to stay in the draft, thinking I was trying to dodge their draft. Let's get this on. 5 more minutes. I hope it doesn't kick me out this time. What I might do is before I go in and go ahead and clear network data again. That's the first time in about 6 months that I was disconnected that way. So I was pissed off about it, and I said some things, but it's really not that bad. But this whole Brazil server thing is a cock, and they need to quit that crap. Run American clients on American servers and Brazil clients on Brazil servers, and you know do your international races in the world tour where they belong. And it doesn't compute with me how they came up with the idea that they were going to merge regions together like that. Even in Japan, you got Japan and Australia, and they're just almost 1,000 miles apart from each other. They're going to be, or I say it's Japan, it's Japan in the Far East and Australia, and they merge those two together. And uh, I've watched some of the videos of those guys, and they have the same problems we have. If you're an Australian on the Japanese servers, you can't get above 3 bars. If you're Japanese on Australian servers, you can't get above 3 bars. You can't. Doesn't matter how fast the internet is. You can't breach physics. It takes time for the signal to travel. Three more minutes. Come on. That's funny. They're saying this track's in Italy. I don't know if that's Italy. I think it's Corsica or something like that. Sardegna's an island off the south side of. At least I think that's what when I looked it up, that's what it said. Let's take a look here real quick. Yeah. So Sardegna is southwest of Rome, which Rome is right on the western side of Italy. Uh, you go southeast of Rome, and that takes you down to the boot, and then there's these two islands that sit out between the mainland Europe and Italy, or Rome, Italy. Um, and smaller one, the bigger one, is called Sardegna. Oh, not Sardinia. I'm sorry. Okay, here's the Sardegna. It is actually in Italy. Okay. I thought it was an island, but they're saying that it's actually a part of it. No. They're saying that it's yeah, they're calling Sardegna and Sardinia the same thing. So uh, you got the boot comes down and goes to the southeast, and to the west of that is an island, and it's like about where what would be like the shin of the boot is. Um, if you ever play games like Total War, uh, which was I played the first one and the second one. Um, this is one of your first takeover spots to get your navy going. Get you in an island city that you don't have to worry too much about building your troops up. You can concentrate more on your. Of course, in the first one, in the first Total War, you still have to concentrate on your troops because it's still very troop oriented. But in the second one, you could actually have a naval base there and build up naval troops and have marines to defend the land and so forth and so on. Of course, it's a fictional track. They probably did the same thing like they did with Blue Moon Bay. Blue Moon Bay is supposed to be Pocono, which is in New York, but it's they taken that track and moved it out to the West Coast and called it Blue Moon Bay. And Pocono is a NASCAR oval. It's 3-point just like that. Um, it's not used every season, which is why you don't hear it a lot. Alright, let's get this on. Make sure we're still. Don't know why I shifted there. That turn. That seems to be the one I keep messing up when I come back in here clean. Okay, so red line on this car is 6,800. That's where you're supposed to be shifting it out. That's one of the things I like about having this thing on attack. See, I'm already way over red line, but when I hit red line, it should be losing power, and it's gaining power. Now, usually when you're over 3,000 RPMs and you start gaining power, that's because you've got a turbo that's kicking in. Most turbos are set, unless it's a double turbo, which are usually staged. Around 3,000 RPMs, the turbo will have spooled up and able to start providing power. And then if you've got a double set, you'll have one that kicks in at 3,000 and one that kicks in around 5,500, 6,000. Unless you're a naturally high RPM car like a Porsche or something like that. And then you might have one that kicks in around 4,000 RPM and another one that kicks in around 7 or 8. It's the 126s. Low 125s or middle. Good. 2 laps in a row within the 10th of each other. Broke a little bit early there. Late on the accelerator. Of course, I wasn't quite down on the apex either, so. got time to be made up in that last sector. Time for 2 more laps, 3 more laps, 3 more laps. Clipped that inner corner and it made the front end jump up, and they just lost all traction on the front end for a second. That was an interesting sound. Sounded almost like it had turbo. Heard some whistling there. I mean, of course, it could have been some of the wind whistling on the mirrors. Like, let's see if that comes in again. Because that'll prove it. If that's the case, because you don't hear it anywhere else. You don't hear the turbo despooling when you're shifting gears and dropping the RPMs like you do on some of the other cars on this car. But every once in a while you hear something that sounds like it's, possibly a turbo. And it's supposed to be a naturally aspirated V8 or V10. The Group 4 cars will probably be running the 400 horsepower V10, or maybe the 450. There was a 400, 430, 450, and almost 600. I think there was another one in between there too. The 600 one was the one that was reserved for the racing team. SRT manufactured it for their cars. Of course, SRT doesn't even race anymore, I don't think. know, they're not affiliated with Dodge. In 2017 or 2018, they broke apart or were dissolved. And 2019 supposedly was the last time a Viper raced on the track, so I don't know if there's manufacturer requirements or what. They quit making the Viper in 2017, so. That's not good. 2 126s in a row going into the race. Come on, maybe I get all the bad stuff out of the way, so I can get a decent qualifying this time. Be nice to have a 125 instead of a 126. Though it was near enough, it was 126 flat. See if we actually make it into the race this time. And there goes our Viper buddy again. I guess he maybe got kicked out too. He's from America. A lot of freaking Toyotas. The 86 is not going to do well here. I hate to tell you guys, but that's just the case. It doesn't have enough speed. The 4C probably not so well either. The 650S, there's an uncle again. I wonder if he got kicked out as well. What do we got? 172 points. Not bad. We're on the Brazil servers again. Yeah, you got one guy at full bars, everybody else is at half or two. That shouldn't be a thing. You shouldn't have a race where you got only one guy in the race only has full bars. Everybody else is running on mouse-powered wheels. Yeah, it looks like that guy from the other day that was his first lap is disqualified anyway, and he's sitting back there trying to freaking tailgate me. Go, we're purple. Screwed that up. Still purple though. He's still behind me. Oh, 9/10 off our best time, so we're not going to be purple this time for damn sure. 8th. Wow, the 86 is up there, huh? 9th. Yeah, Cayman, mate, give me issues. 10th, 11th. At least I got a couple guys behind me there running. Those guys just must have the pace on the 86, because I mean, you could see I was every time we got to a straight section, I was walking up on this guy like he wasn't even there. Alright, here we go. This time we're going to burn fuel the entire time. This is not looking good. What's going on here? Oh, we still got 12 more seconds. Okay. I was about to say, it's only got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that have good connections. Everybody else sucks because they're not from Brazil or Argentina. That's bullcrap. The majority of the lobby is not in Brazil. That means the service should be in America. The bad part is that I qualified one door down from where my door card's at, so I gotta at least make up one position. The good thing is, in this lobby, that shouldn't be a problem. Qualified a lot better this time, didn't you? Alright, UDI guys, it's been a while since I've seen them. They're all dirty. Ah. Good thing is I'm far enough forward, I'm not starting on that last turn like I did last time. Pushing on my rear like that. Not bad. 5 positions in 1 lap. And the top 6 there are free and clear of what's going on behind, so as long as I don't scoop it up and drag them up here with like that. Of course, they goofed up on the quarter themselves. So we got BMW, Toyota, Jaguar, Dodge, myself. You can see the other guys up there. But those 286s are up there, so at least one of them is. That's what I was thinking. We're lacking a little bit of fuel without the slipstream, so I may need to short shift here a little bit. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we got 9 laps left, 8.5 laps of fuel. Yep. Okay, so that took care of our fuel problem. not falling back, they're just going faster. Oh no, that time I fell back almost 4/10 there somewhere. Alright, Blue Deuce is coming up fast. He just took almost a second off the time in that last section. Head down here. Not the way you do it. Luckily I didn't get a penalty. Am I starting to fall off up there? Them and the Jags fighting. And a good thing is Blue Deuce didn't bring the rest of the pack with him. There you go. Start putting some time on that guy. That's a penalty. Good thing his penalty zone's not in a bad place. There are worse places it could be. Oh, somebody up there's got a penalty. Is that number 4? He may have a bigger problem because a half second isn't that much of a big deal, but a full second they're going to slow him all the way down. Fifth place, yeah. Not bad. Plus 6 positions. Fifth place. Surprised that 86 held on like that though. See, all the rest of them fell back. That one behind me was giving me a run for my money, but he kept cutting corners, so he kept getting penalties. 143 points? Yeah, we'll take that. So his best time, we were almost a half a second, or a little over a half a second behind his best time. No, a little less. A little less than half a second. Let's see where the Uncle back in the back again. Come on, Uncle. Looked like he quit. There's the other Vibrant. I wouldn't expect the Mustang to do very well around here. Sounds like there's some stuff. There was stuff going on here, so we'll do the replay, and I'll go over the replay, and I'll post it up for share here once I get off the stream. That puts us with a 139 and a 143, I think it was. So I gotta go back and check that real quick. Important thing is it boosts my points right now to 143, which puts me ahead of a certain somebody, which I'm extremely happy about. Oh, he's not going to show up there. He's going to show up in there, but he may be here. Yeah, that DJR 2010 is... I'll be ahead of him unless he beats a 143. And then he has to get 142 or better to stay ahead of my 2-time. That's funny. There's only 8 people in my local area that are in the Dodge. The local area being Florida. So let's go take a look at what happened to this race. Starting to get a little bit full here. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. I'll delete the whole bottom row here. I don't like that, and that could be part of what caused it to crash. Is starting to get full on because I've got quite a few games installed right now, so and we don't need to keep these. I wanted to keep that one I just deleted in case somebody had anything to say, because there was some nastiness that went on in it, and it was them being nasty, not me. Okay, so let's see what happened here. Because Blue Deuce apparently was kicked off the track early on, which is why he was behind us. Okay, that guy started off in second. He ended up in fourth because he was the one he was the one I was tailgating. That's the guy that took first. I believe this was in fourth. Go kart's fifth. Yeah, the guy right behind him was the one he said he needs to learn how to brake. Of course, he's in the AMG, so he probably thinks he can outbrake everybody. I know. The fact is, the AMG actually has some pretty crap brakes compared to a lot of these cars. Of course, me, I placed one position ahead of my door card. Or no, one position behind my door card, that's right. I was supposed to be in 10th and I placed 11th. And that's one of the cars right there. I know it's a Pilot. Wow, that's funny. Pilot's a big truck stop. But the Ford is probably one of the cars here that would have the problem with fuel. That's about the only one I can think of that what the fuel usage is going on. Let's see. We need to get this set up. Display all. We'll go down to behind the track. I need to get a license plate set up on there, don't I? That's my design, by the way. Okay, so there's Bluetooth. I want to. What was his deal? I mean, he just sort of fell off. He was sliding around all over the place. That car is not like that. I know it. I drove it for 2 years. Well, that's part of his problem. Is he's over revving the car. This car, okay, so Bluetooth got knocked out, and Tack Uncle collected him because he tried to go to the left, and then of course he got too far to the left there, and the back end kicked out because he was on the grass, and that's when I went by. And then Bluetooth come down on me. I was on the corner edge. I mean, there was nothing I could do. He tried to come down on top of me, and then I sprinted him to the corner, and of course the Viper's got the speed. He hit me and then made contact with the Porsche there. Okay, so Bluetooth is trying to push out again. And at this point, we're all going to make a breakaway, and that's the reason we all made a breakaway, because Attack Uncle pushed his way through, and then Bluetooth took exception to that and sent him. And then the rest of us just sort of walk off from here, because they're all back here beating on each other. See, at this point, I'm already like almost 2 seconds ahead of these guys. And they're not able to make any headway because the two up in front are sitting there fighting. That Aston Martin and the Toyota, and Jag's right behind them, putting his nose into their business. Oh, you're done. Oh yeah. See what I was talking about? Mid-engine rear drive. He got into the dirt and he quit. He got into the dirt, and as soon as he got in the dirt, the rear end come around, and that was the end of it. Start back over here. So let's go up here to Bluetooth and see how it looked from his. And I'm going to take a look at this from my perspective, how I would see it, because I want to see why he thought he had room on the inside. The only thing I figure is he thought he wasn't. He forgot I was there. Okay, so I don't know what he's talking about. He dove and got pushed wide because he was actually going too fast, and yeah, the AMG outbroke himself, but he didn't actually make contact with this guy. He made contact with the guy that won the race in the 86 and pushed him, and his foot. See, he could see me there in his rear mirror. There's no way he didn't know I was there, unless he's not playing with a rear mirror. And he doesn't. His driving's not erratic enough that he looks like he's driving with trying to push me now. So he tried to pinch off at ATK Uncle, and he just sent Uncle. He should have got a penalty for that. He tried to pinch him off, and then Uncle went in, nosed on through, and then he took exception to that and pushed him into the corner. This guy's dirty. Got no room to be talking to. And that's what I figured, because I've seen this name before. This guy's dirty. That rocket bunny is not being much cleaner. This is trying to get around him, trying to get a different line, and he comes out into him to block him off. If you're going to take the inside line, take your inside line. You're required to choose a line before you go into the corner. As the leading car, and you cannot deviate from that line until after the corner exits. If somebody comes around you on the outside because you took the inside line and couldn't carry enough speed, that's your problem, not theirs. You don't have that right to push them off the track. Yeah, he nudged and pushed a pass. He nudged him into the corner so that he would not be able to keep it tight. And then took the inside using his brake, using his hit on the Jags to break him down so that he could go cut the corner down sharper and come underneath him. Okay, so he's broke away from the guys behind. This is when he's starting to catch me up. We'll go ahead and skip forward here, because he's going to go past me here, because I'm going to make a mistake and get a penalty. Oh, he got a penalty there. Must have been when he really fell off. Yeah. Yeah, that's when he really fell off. That's when he was down like almost 4 seconds behind me. If he drive clean and quit cutting corners and stuff, he'd do okay. He's not slow by any means. It's a little bit surprising how fast the 86 is, because it used to be really slow. You know what? I'm thinking about it. Everybody used to think it was really slow, and the fact was it was. It doesn't have turbo; it's naturally aspirated, but it hasn't gotten all the power debuffs like all the other cars have. They've left it alone pretty much. So now it's probably coming back into its own, which is not surprising. Toyota is the favorite car by the Gran Turismo because the owner is a Toyota fan. If you follow his story, apparently that's why he went into programming, because he was racing for Toyota, or racing a Toyota, and had an accident and couldn't race anymore. Okay, so he's going to be going by me here in a minute because I'm going to get a penalty right there, my penalty. Yeah, I definitely need to get a bumper license plate or something on there. Some sort of decal on that back, make it to break it up a little bit. See if I can find me some Guragar. Oh, maybe that's what I'll do, is I'll put a big fingers up. Number one, but, you know, the other number one, the middle number one, and an ah symbol. Of course, I think these two guys killed themselves, which is why I ended up a fifth. Yeah, the Corvette screwed up. And this, oh, that's right, this guy got a 1 second penalty. That's how I passed him. And that Blue Deuce ended up in the dirt again. Yeah, those two back there. The vet's going to. Yep, he sent Blue Deuce. No, Blue Deuce. I'm looking at Blue Deuce. What I'm talking about. He pushed the M3 out so that I was able to get past him. So, what's going on here? I know that the guy that's in second was the one he was complaining about. We're almost on the last lap, so they didn't have any other interaction. I know that they both ended up behind me, so... Because I'm in sixth now, at least one of them ended up behind me. Okay, so hold on a minute. Let's go back here. What happened here? Oh, he dove it big time. You ain't got nothing. They ain't nobody else's fault but your own. You can't send it and then complain about somebody else not braking. Yep. I thought Lockenveer ended up behind me too. Lockabnist or whatever it is. I guess I was wrong about that. That he got a third is fine. This guy here is the problem, not you. And of course, it's always somebody else's problem. It's not the dirty driver's fault. Everybody should get out of his way. Yeah. Suck on your 7th place. 126, 125, 126. That's where you belong at. But just to give you an idea. He was pulling better times than most everybody else at the end of the race, but I was pulling 125s at the beginning, so. There's a whole section in there in the middle where he had much higher times because of all of his penalties. Alright, so we're going to call that. Like I said, I'm fine with 142 points. That's going to put me ahead of the other guy that's butting me out of my home region right now, unless he does better. So it'll put me back in first for my region. But we'll see you again on Saturday with the FIA. I'll be doing other stuff. Tomorrow is, where's my paper at? Well, shoot. I can't be making that disappear. That needs to stay where I can get my hands on it. I wrote up a schedule because I've got so many things going on right now. Just a minute. So tomorrow I'm going to be what I was doing this morning for my free day, and that's Red Dead Redemption 2. I've not ever played that game. I played the online when they made it free to play. I wasn't real impressed with it because there were things that were online oriented that they wanted you to become part of this gang, and not, if you didn't become part of this gang, you weren't able to access certain things, and there's too much pointing at the PvP. I don't mind PvP games, but when you have a game that has a story and PvP is interrupting the story, that's a problem in my opinion. Don't make a game that has a storyline and then throw PvP in the middle of it so that you get guys hanging around waiting for people to come up to the checkpoints that they have to go through and ganking them because they think it's funny. I mean, there was a time that when they took EverQuest and made it into PvP servers, if you were caught hanging around quest points messing with people doing quests, they would ban your account. But oh no, we can't have that. That's not hardcore. Oh, it's hardcore if you stand around with 10 guys and jump one guy trying to do a quest. It ain't he's not even bothered with you. But anyhow, we'll see how that goes. See you later.